Every day it's awkward at the beginning, especially if you're starting with a white canvas. There's nobody saying, oh, you're doing the right thing now. You've just got to go, am I not? Is it good? Is it not good? Well, let's see how this goes. I'm not liking that. Why don't I like that? I'm not sure. And then finally the voices quiet down. But it's really satisfying when you're not wondering where you're going, you're just doing. And I use a mirror to kind of get an idea of what it looks like to somebody else, because it's flipped it around and it's given me double the distance. It gives me a fresh view. I like it because when I look this way, it's very familiar. I'm already starting to categorize the shapes, and I go like this, and it's completely new to me. I thought, well, why am I painting a landscape? Why don't I just use a photo? And I really honestly think that the act of putting all that work and care into it and then scribbling over it means something. It really does. It's almost analogous to how we treat our planet. How could it have sustained us and be such a beautiful thing and we treat it like this? I'm trying to shine a light on our soulless attitude towards our planet. When I started with landscapes, I was obsessed by the idea of the horizon, and I did these big skies, and I always felt like we are a speck of dust on the skin of creature Earth. I found comfort in the idea that we're just a cog in this biological process. Times have changed a lot. There's definitely more of a threat out there in terms of the environment. It's pretty critical now. It's worthy of addressing. I've never used fluorescent paint before on a painting because it just seems so wrong. But it also kind of goes because it's a landscape, and I want the viewer to still see the painting, but they're going to have to really look through all this stuff and wonder what it's about, and wonder why it's there. Trying to put it into words, what exactly it means, sort of makes it a lot more literal than what it is. I think in my mind it vaguely represents humanity, human construct, the things that we build, the things that we do that don't quite mesh. I'm trying to address something uncomfortable. Human beings have a relationship to nature, but we also have an anthropocentric existence, and I want to point that out. And if you just do something that's really didactic or finger-wagging or terribly ugly, nobody really wants to hear it or look at it. So I want my paintings to be beautiful, and I want the viewer to want to look more so that they stop and really understand what it's about. Why are there these fluorescent green lines obliterating this landscape? Why can't I see it clearly? That's a little bit uncomfortable. I'm trying to make them disarming enough that people will look and be drawn in by the beauty to go like, oh wait, wow, that's cool, that's so true. And people usually do really relate, because I think a lot of people kind of feel that in this day and age, like, wow, we're at a really interesting point in human development in terms of our relationship with the world, but nobody knows how to put their finger on it. And I think almost putting your finger on it in an abstract way like this is more direct than talking about it. I feel like I'm helping you express something that you know and feel and are aware of, but don't know how to express or talk about or bring into the conversation. It's really an interesting time in human history. I don't think people dreamed it would get like this. I tried to give a title that is a clue as to what the meaning of the painting is. So all of the first ones that I did in this series had the name Anthropocene. This is a geographical epoch that's been completely shaped by humans. Biology is not incompatible with art. Biology has informed my sculpture. The sculptures are all based in the look of invertebrate zoology. And I do a lot of work that addresses survival strategies in a changing physical world. Pieces with spikes, spores, a proboscis for feeding creatures that may be sort of horrifying but beautiful. I'm trying to ride that line. A little bit of that with a little bit of the miracle of what something can do to survive. It just goes on and on. I love that regenerative concept. There's a lot of power in that to me. I think it inspires me. I did study biology, so I always kind of think of us as a species, and it's hard for me to not do that. But things start to seem ridiculous. I was a ski instructor, and I'm like, wow, I'm spending all this energy teaching a creature how to strap things on its legs and slide downhill for fun. I always think of things that way, and it starts to seem silly. Culture is very interesting, but underneath culture is nature. Underneath it all, we are human beings that are a part of the physical, biological world, and we separate ourselves from that, but we really can't. I think we pay the price for doing that. Biology led me down this path, and I think that for a long time I was happy doing the landscapes, but after a while they seem kind of pointless, so it's a pretty picture. What is it, a diorama from the past in a museum? Why am I painting this? It's not even what I feel. There's always a little bit of tension in me when I'm traveling and seeing beautiful things and worrying about what's happening. I think if you study biology or environmental science or anything like that, you end up with a real depth of understanding of the interconnectedness of things and the fragility of things. Art can put a certain conversation on the table in a way that other things can't. And so, do I think art, changes the world? Not one piece by itself, but I think as the conversation moves forward, the world slowly does change. So I think it's really important to bring up that conversation, and I think it's really important to continue the dialogue and get people comfortable talking about it, to have it be an issue. Because when something's not an issue, it's never going to be addressed.